Have we been recording?
Yes.
The whole time we were like taking pictures and shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll edit it out.
okay. Or we don't have to.
Oh, we don't have to.
I think again,
It was
like,
quiet for a lot of that time. So
Yeah.
we might
Well, because
wanna edit it out.
everyone was smiling.
Yeah.
I
We're
was
looking at the camera.
My
over.
beard was
Oh,
looking
cheesing.
weird,
Yeah.
super suspect. Anyways, welcome.
I was watching the other episode the other day, and it was so funny how mad you got.
Welcome to another's. God damn it! Every time you fucking do that, just throw me off. I'm not Joe Rogan, okay?
You're a professional.
Not at this. I
forgot you're only a professional
So
wrestler.
we talked about Andrew Craig was like the most like mediocre.
Yeah.
What is it? The mostest mediocre fighter.
Yeah.
Which is not true because he's a savage.
He's really good.
Yeah, he's and also sweetheart. Like I'm the
We all
most
love Andrew.
mediocre at like during the podcast. I'm good. Fire. Opening, not the best. Like every time we have a conversation about like, hey, Patrick, introduce yourself right, because I just go, welcome to another Fighter Stance podcast. I am here with Nick Booty Judge. Instead of going, I am Patrick Miller. I teach lunchtime classes at Gracie Midas Cedar Park. I also help teach some of the protector classes with my boy Flood.
Yeah.
And I run Heroes Jiu-Jitsu.
Yes.
If you guys would like to be an affiliate, please sign up.
What is Heroes Jiu-Jitsu for the people in case they don't know?
So Heroes Jiu-Jitsu is a nonprofit that allows veterans, active duty military, first responders, nurses, and teachers to come train at your gym. Sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week. But it's always a good time, and we're building a community. Right now, we're kind of killing it. We actually just got all our rash guards and stuff in. So if you guys want any of that stuff, just hit me up.
Awesome.
And I am here with Nick Buglieri.
Was
that
almost
close?
That was close. That was closer. That
Nick
was
Booty Judge, bitches.
Nick Buttiglieri.
Yeah.
I'm head of product here at Sheepdog, so I make all the sweet gear that you guys see. What is that? Oh, Pat's looking at me all upset because he thinks, or rightfully so, he has given a lot of input on products, especially one of the new products that we have coming out this spring, summer. It's a variation on an old product,
And we're not going to give him credit for it.
So I know that you guys listen to the podcast, so you know that I love defense soaps and defense wipes. They also have a large array of other products. Like we have 2 foot washing stations out at the mats. So it's not just soap and it's not just wipes. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. So make sure you guys go check out their website and get some of the other products as well as your defense wipes and your defense soap.
Credit for it.
we're definitely
Not
not
at
going to
all.
give him credit.
Also, the protector shirt that looks like the one that's on fire. My idea.
But that was not an original idea. Me and Matt had talked about it before that.
Oh my
What-
God. Look at you.
Also, as a side note, he does think he has all these great ideas. He wants me to make like a Sons of Anarchy style motorcycle jacket. He's like, make it right now.
The t-shirt. So so you know the Rogue shirt that has
Yes.
the top rocker, bottom
Yes.
rocker. I want to do that one for Sheepdog.
Why not?
Yeah,
No, I agree. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
fuck
I'm like,
you.
there's a process. He's like,
Right.
no, make it today.
All in due time. All in due time.
Yeah, Pat, we'll get
He
to
just
it.
wants the shirt. It's what it
He
is.
just wants the
Let's
shirt.
let
That's
Nick
the
finish
shirt.
introducing himself.
I'm pretty much done with myself, but so as always, we're also joined by Zach.
Hey, I'm Zach. I'm the director of customer experience here at Sheepdog Response. Black belt jiu-jitsu. I don't teach like Pat does. I'm not that good, but
Sometimes you teach
Shut
people
the-
individually.
All right,
Individually.
So I'm gonna be really nice here. I know, even though you guys are gonna be mean to me for like an hour. Like my boy is so good at jujitsu, it's ridiculous. He's got these little like Mikey Musumeci feet that like pummel in, and you're like, hey, stop touching my gi.
He flies
Let
around
go.
like a spider monkey.
Yeah,
It's
he
wild.
does, and he's also so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
Hair gets in the way a little bit, but other than that,
Mm.
it's good rolls.
Super
Yeah.
annoying. Yeah.
it is kind of annoying. I need to get it shaved off or something. I'm gonna hair
I-
bald one
I-
day. You guys, are, who the fuck is this guy?
Dude, I saw your ID where you have like short hair. I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Right? Look, a little kid, right?
It's like Pat without a beard. You're like, what?
Right. It's true. I've never seen Pat without a beard.
Yeah, it's not good.
All the girls told him to delete all the photos and never shave.
And I told him.
Never.
By all the girls, no girls. I'm only,
All
you
the
know
girls.
which one you are. That one special one.
That one special lady.
Yeah.
You know who you are. Yeah.
Yeah. See what I did there?
That's good. So we're
Trying to
joined
get out
here
these-
with Justin Flood, one of our Sheepdog Response instructors. Go ahead and talk a little
Yeah,
about
hey, I'm
yourself.
Justin. Glad to be here. I'm one of the instructors here at Sheepdog. I teach Protector 1, Protector 2, pistol, carbine, all that good stuff. And of course, the trauma response course. I'm a black belt in jiu-jitsu, got a wrestling background, did a couple decades in the Army and retired.
Did you start wrestling when you were 4 is the real question.
We'll talk about that later. But no. I wasn't until later in high school. Yeah.
Nice.
Hey,
And,
Good one, Nick. Good one.
yeah.
fuck you guys.
No, continue. A few decades in the army. How long were you in the army?
Couple decades in the army. I retired in the army. Actually, 18 years. I did 18.
Nice.
Retired in
Congrats.
very early 2020. I became a firefighter paramedic. So I did
Oh,
that for a couple
awesome.
years. And now I own my own jiu-jitsu gym up in Weatherford, Texas, and it's Atos Weatherford.
It is a beautiful gym too.
It is
If you're in that
nice.
area,
Thank
go
you.
check it out. Also, my man, like it was so army. I remember the first time we taught a protector one. Somebody forgot the keys to a lock, and then we were trying to cut it with bolt cutters. But it's apparently our locks are case hardened, and you can't even if you're two giant strong men like me and Flood, you can't like cut those locks with regular bolt cutters.
I tried to tell them.
That's
They still
He goes,
try it.
this is a case hardened. I was a firefighter for 20 or for a couple of years. You can't get. I was like, bro, let's just try.
Pat's like, you just do it harder and
Yeah.
it works.
That's exactly what he wanted to do. So I'm like, okay, well, this will be entertaining at least. So.
Yeah,
Weird that Pat wasn't a
but
Marine.
also, so the thing though is the all like the stuff to like to teach like people how to like use their iron sights was in the trailer. And Flood, I'm surprised you didn't use MRE boxes. I figured if we had MRE
Right.
boxes, you would have used
I
those.
would have, yeah.
That's such a first art thing to do.
Yep.
He found some cardboard, cut it out, and then giant.
Sights.
Yeah,
I made
yeah.
sights out of
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god.
Could just drew it.
Improvise and overcome, right?
Yeah,
Just
no, hey,
drew it,
listen,
but,
you
you know.
killed it. I was just like, though, and I think you even said, that's the most first sergeant shit I've ever seen, bro. And you were like,
Thank you.
And,
yeah.
and then I asked you if you had eaten yet.
Yeah. Where are your gloves and eye pro? Shut the fuck up. We're on the army anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, you didn't shave this morning or any morning.
Again, Pat, don't shave.
I'm
Not
not.
allowed.
Oh my god, I'm not going. You know how many times I've heard that in like the last I for 20 years I had that face. I did okay for myself, all right?
Purposefully, I had a larger beard. I trimmed it last night because I didn't want to have to compete.
Makes sense.
with
Yeah.
that.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean?
It's pretty glorious.
Yeah.
We
So
all agree.
here's the deal.
Those are the only compliments you'll get today.
That's
Pat.
it.
Don't worry. Pat's like, Flood's gonna come in. We're just gonna make fun of him for an hour. I'm like, I don't know if that's how it's gonna work.
Tables
Yeah.
are turned. Tables are turned.
Yeah.
Real quick.
This podcast, like again, this podcast is me just eating shit for an hour. Although I do need to stop cussing so much. Apparently, in the Roadhouse, if you haven't watched it yet, check out the Roadhouse review.
Oh.
I got Ian, like our
Yeah.
one of our underbosses here was like, hey,
What are we, a mafia?
yeah, we
Kind
are,
of.
we are.
A little bit.
This is Sheepdogistan. But Ian was like, you can't cuss so much, and I'm like, what do you
Can I
mean?
cuss?
And I was like, Matt cussed too, and he was like, yeah, but
That's Matt.
yeah. We're talking about you.
Matt places it strategically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
no,
sense.
stop it.
You're
No,
more-
he doesn't. He doesn't. What I think it is.
Carpet bombing.
What I think it is we only get like 4 an episode, and I use
I don't know if that's how it works.
3
This-
of them. And
this isn't
Matt
the-
In a
used,
sentence.
yeah. So I can't steal Matt. Matt gets to say him, but I don't because I'm just some idiot who talks on this podcast.
There's also discussion of censorship doing the whole beeping it out thing.
Yeah.
Which could be funny.
Yeah, that could
That
be
could be
funny.
fun.
Even if it's
But
like
it would
not
be-
even appropriately placed.
Yeah. Also, like I'm a fan of that, and then beeping out words when they don't need to be beeped
Exactly,
out.
yeah.
Exactly.
And then
Not-
like
not
whenever,
appropriately placed
whenever
beeps,
you
yeah.
cover someone's face up, like you do the blurry thing,
And they
but
move.
then like as they move, it stays to the and they go back.
He's an operator. Yeah.
Yeah.
We might still do. We have a video planned. Andrew might do something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I like
So
that idea.
we have a couple different ideas for Andrew, like doing a Charlie Murphy, like True Hollywood Stories.
Oh yeah.
But like when Andrew trained with Tim,
Yes.
and like having Nick, because my boy's jacked, being Tim.
I
least
remember
Jack
that
Person.
shit. No, I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Remember when I took you down, Tim? No, I don't.
Yeah.
That never happened.
Hey Tim, remember when you punched me in the back of the head illegally for like almost a whole round?
That's got to be one of the stories.
And he goes, yeah, I do. I did it on purpose. You purposely punched me in the back. You could have killed me. He's like, yeah, whatever the Hawaiian Kempo or whatever. He's like, you don't throw hooks. I was like, that's not true. I saw Chuck Liddell throw nothing but hooks for like 10 years.
His whole career.
Yeah. He doesn't throw any straight punches.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that too because that's a great story and clearly you're not upset about it.
Reenacting it would be fun.
That's it, bro. I'm telling you, I have how many times Tim has taken my back. Like I have him in order of like my worst to like this
Experience.
twice. The first one was when he punched me in the back of the head, which is the worst. Second worst is when we did the protector kit. Like
Yeah.
we did the photo shoot for that. My man had my back for like I don't know, 4 minutes of a 5-minute round, and my mouth, like I couldn't drink citrus for like a week because I had all these little cuts in my mouth. I was like, he goes, your like choke defense is like sick, bro. I was like, thanks.
That's my teeth.
Yeah, I could see my teeth through my lip, bro.
Do you get PTSD whenever Tim takes your back? You're like, what's gonna happen this time?
No.
Fighting Tim is like fighting an angry troll. Like, it's just everything's coming. It's going to be super pressure.
Do you know when you see those videos of like when people like reunite with like orangutans that like they had when they're like, and they run up and they're like, and the orangutans all excited. That's what I think of. I'm like, oh, Tim's excited to see me. Yeah. Oh my, and then, but whenever they do that, and then the orangutan freaks out and rips their face off, like that's
also what happens.
The same noises. Too.
Yeah, and hair level. Tim's a hairy man, but it's like the same thing where he like runs up and he's like, I'm so excited to see you, and then the buzzer goes off and you're like, oh shit, no, stop fighting me, don't rip my face off.
Like, tell me I'm wrong. Tim has to win every little battle. You know how there's a lot of little battles to win like a move or a strategy. And if you start to beat Tim in just one little battle, like let's say a grip, and you get the good grip, you feel his throttle go through the roof.
Also, though, here's the problem: is like you go with. So if you're fresh and you go with Tim, like it's you hang, right? It's not going to be great, but you can hang now. But if it's your 9th round and Tim's 9th round, Tim is the same. And he doesn't like. He's so busy. He doesn't train. Like he does a lot of like he works out a lot. He does jiu-jitsu when he can, but it's not every day. I train every fucking day.
To be fair, he's also
one F word, by the way.
One F word. To be fair, he's also at Roca doing like an hour of
no. Hey, listen, that's what I'm saying. He works out, right? But you have to know that like the cardio you do in a gym is nothing like the cardio you're going to do on a jiu-jitsu mat.
Sure.
So, but somehow, I train every day. Like for the last week, I got beat up by Big Dan and John Carlo.
Yep.
Like
good times.
Yeah. Horrible. But I look at it like if I can like hang with those guys or like even get close, do something positive, then there's really nobody like
right.
Unless your name's Gordon Ryan.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe Craig Jones.
Yeah. Oh, Craig Jones.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like no normal. Like I'm gonna murder normal people.
Yeah.
But the problem with Tim is
what about Flood? You gonna murder Flood?
Oh, we'll see after this.
Bro,
we'll
find out later.
But anyways, so but Tim,
we fought before.
Yeah, Tim.
I'm so mad. I have a meeting. I'm like, I can't train today.
But Tim is like on round 8. He's the same.
I know.
And you're like, bro, you're not even sweating.
No slowing down.
Yeah. You're X-Men, bro.
At least if like I'm on round 8 and you're on round 8,
we're both tired.
We're mutually slowed down.
Yeah. All, muscles are pumped. Like we're like, it's like, all right, man. Like let's do an old man roll this round.
Exactly.
Not Tim.
No, not Tim.
Nope.
Not fun.
You know, yeah, he only wins.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nice.
So Flood.
Yes.
Where were you born?
So I was born in Modesto, California.
Makes sense. That's why
right.
I don't like you.
Not Texas, born and raised. I'm a transplant. So
from the worst state of them all.
Yeah. Beautiful state. Love the state. Wonderful place to grow up. I lived in the rural areas. Farming and ranching is pretty much where I grew up. But by the time I was in my late 30s with kids, just wasn't a place I wanted to live anymore. Didn't have the same political, values.
Affiliation.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So you lived your whole life there until like right after.
So what you're saying, you were a infantryman in the Army for 18 years.
Well,
and you moved to Texas. Were you infantry?
Yeah. So I was infantry. So the funny story about me is I went in right out of high school. Well, let me back up. I played high school football. I had scholarships, college scholarships. And I had a scholarship to a place called Norwich University, which is like an academy, essentially, a military academy. I went and visited it. Yeah. And at full ride, my parents were pumped. And I was like, oh, dude, I like this military thing. I think I'm just going to join the military.
They're like, no, but we'll pay for you to go to school.
Yeah, of course.
Like, no, I'm good.
No, they're going to pay for me to go to college. And they're like, no, you're an idiot. Like, you have scholarships. Like, what are you doing?
I'm just joining the Army because I'm an idiot. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to be able to, like, I could barely spell my name. I'm not going to be able to class. Like, I failed pre-algebra. I'm not gonna pass your math class.
Exactly. Like my dad, he was a vet, and he was like, "Bro, you're stupid. Don't do that."
So you just call me stupid, and I agree with you, and that's why I'm just gonna join.
Exactly. So I ended up So a compromise was, I was like, oh, I'll just join the National Guard, right? I'll just join the National Guard. It's just part-time, right? It's just part-time.
Famous
no
last
deal.
words.
Yeah. So I joined the National Guard.
I think Matt did that too.
Yeah. To join the National Guard, it took a while for me to ship out. So all the junior college football coaches were like, oh, cool, you're going to play football for a semester. I was like, no, I'm going to wrestle. They're like, you're okay at wrestling. Like, you were okay in high school, but like, you're really good at football, right? And I was like, I like wrestling. And they're like, this kid is an idiot. But
He's just doing all the wrong things.
yeah, like, I was
making bad choices.
tired of playing football.
Made his own path. Made his own path.
I was like, I'm 18. I'm a man, right? So
Do what I want.
I joined the Guard. I came out. I went infantry, AIT, all that stuff. I came back, and this was shortly after September 11th, right?
Mm.
So I went right to combat. Like, it was not like what I thought it was going to be. Like, oh, 1 weekend a month. Summer. I came back and they were like, "Oh, hey, by the way, you're deploying," and I was like, "What does that mean?"
Iraq,
Wait, what?
Iraq or Afghanistan?
Iraq.
Oh yeah,
bro, yeah.
Bro, your story's a lot like mine because I got out of basic training and they were in basic. They're like, hey, a lot of you guys are gonna be in Iraq in like 3 months. I got out, it was 2, bro. I was like, oh my god.
But I was super fortunate because I had a lot of like team leaders and stuff that squad leaders that just got off active duty, and they were kind of just like rolling right into another active duty tour. So it was a really good experience for me growing up. I didn't get this kind of, horror story that you hear of guys joining the Guard and they didn't get good leadership and all that stuff. And so fast forward a couple of deployments. I ended up realizing after my deployments, I was like, hey, I actually need a job. So I ended up getting like some active duty gigs, ended up AGR. And it was funny, man, because like,
what's AGR?
Active Guard Reserve. Yeah. So that the National Guard has an active staff, right? That has to be on duty all the time to plan training and all that kind of stuff. So I ended up doing that. And it was just funny because, I went to all the schools. I was always in shape. I was always willing to go to all the schools, whether it was combatives. I went to Air Assault, Airborne, Pathfinder, everything, right? I did the whole traditional, KD time. I went to recruiting and retention as my, broadening assignment.
Yeah.
I hit all those gates. And so it was funny because I'd go to active duty schools as like, let's say E6 or E7. And they're like, cool, bro. Like, how long you been at, where you come from? I'm like, oh, I'm from the Guard. They're like, no, seriously. You got your quad stack. Like, where are you really from? I'm like, no, really, I'm from the National Guard. And they're like,
hey,
what?
Quad stack means you have multiple awards, usually 3.
But he had 4.
At 4.
Yeah.
Hence the quad.
Killing it. Hence the pod.
Yeah, right.
Got it.
Yeah,
Thank you, though. Thank you. For the listeners also.
And a CIB, right?
And a CIB. Yeah. So I had combat infantry time. And so, I was, I hit all my infantry leadership positions. And about the last 6-7 years of my career, 6 years, I found out about the weapons of mass destruction team. And every single state has a WMD team.
I would say I don't even know about that, bro.
Yeah, it's a 22-man team. Texas has a team too.
Nice.
It's Joint Army Air Force, so it's mainly Army, and then you got like 2-3 Air Force guys, right?
Those 2-3 Air Force guys not do any work?
No, man, they're really smart. They're good. They're good to have, but yeah, they're not like us.
Yeah,
they're bred different. But it's okay. It's okay. We still love them.
We got to go pick up cigarette butts. We have people that do that for us.
It was the coolest gig because you had to try out, you had to get on the team, and the whole team was AGR, was active, so there wasn't any like part-time guys or anything like that. And you went to a school. The training pipeline for most of the positions were 12 months, 18 months, something like that. And so you went to all these schools. You learned how to make anthrax. You learned all about chemical, biological, radioactive, and nuclear weapons, right? And then that team has a dual mission. It's essentially to support domestic operations.
Mm-hmm.
So you might go to support a fire scene where there's like a fire chief and like, hey, we have some crazy hazmat thing. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Or you might go support like a SWAT style entry, some sort of dynamic entry, because you have a suspected terrorist making anthrax in his basement.
Got it. That's cool.
So we did everything from fire type stuff, like confined space, rope rescue, EMT, to, hey, small unit tactics, a lot of shooting, a lot of, movement.
Mm-hmm.
And so and so with that came all like the, we'd call them, they're kind of like undercover duties or operations. So we would work like NBA finals. I've been to a few Super Bowls.
Oh, that's
I've
cool.
been to, NASCAR.
That's actually really cool.
Yeah. PGA Pro-Am. I've been to all these events where you're in like a soft uniform and you're in the crowd just trying to pick up like radiation signals.
Bro,
essentially.
Damn.
we are not the same. I didn't get to do any cool shit like that, bro.
But when I was asking Pat, like, so like, what are we going to talk to like Flood about? Pat's like, he's like basically like the same as me. Like we did the same things.
But we have not. You've done so much cool shit. I just like, again, Iraq, Afghanistan. I went to Uzbekistan for like a week, Korea for a little while, but nothing like NBA finals. No, like people are like, hey, where'd you go in the military? I was like, places where people wanted to shoot me in the face.
Right. Well, I did that, and then I just.
Bro, I have over 5 years deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. A quarter of my military career is me just taking in fucking shitty dust and fucking getting shot at.
Oh my god.
Were you quad stacked?
No, you have to have time to do shit like that. I was always training. I'm also colorblind.
Oh yeah.
So like you know
Does that not
the
help?
3-dot test you need to pass the physical. Like
You just have to lie.
I tried, bro. I never could pass it. That's why I'm not
Guessing
airborne.
numbers.
Yeah, my original contract was supposed to be airborne ranger.
Shoot.
I failed that test 6 times.
Oh my gosh. At least
Surprised
you
you
tried
let-
that.
How'd they let you take it so many
Yeah,
times? They're just like, maybe he'll get it.
Like maybe this time.
I would sweet talk the doctors and be like, hey, let me try again.
Yeah.
And then I would go to a new duty station. Like, it seems like you failed this before. I was like, yeah, no, it's good. Let's try it.
Well, in my defense, I did everything in reverse order, which is crazy. So
Interesting.
I went to I had my CIB, but I went to Pathfinder school.
Which is not Pathfinder is not an easy school.
Not easy. Yeah, we had like 67 in my class on day 1, and then graduated with 13.
What kind of school is it?
So-
Like, what do
Oh
you
my
do?
God.
Essentially, once you become qualified, you jump out into enemy territory via parachute, and you set up the drop zone for all the other paratroopers. coming in.
So
You have to find available space, a place big enough that can accept all these jumpers.
So when I was in the SVAB, they did like MTT,
Yeah.
and it was basically all us and like a couple dudes from First Cav, and like we had like again like the SVAB was like guys who had to volunteer, and then they really wanted to go to the school, right? So like we had a decent amount of people that passed, and then you'd be like, hey, like, so what is this, and this, and they're like, bro, I'm like, my brain hurts from that school. Like, don't ask me any questions for like 3 months.
For real.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of funny though, because my little brother, he's a stud, dude. He's I made it to first sergeant. I didn't go higher than that, but my brother, he's in the 173rd Vincenza, and he's a first sergeant, and CIB, air assault.
Bro, there's not a lot of people that are still in that got their CIBs.
I know, and he's got his EIB too. So he's a stud.
What
And
are
then-
these things you're saying? CIB,
a
EIB?
combat infantryman's badge, expert infantryman's badge. So like, but when I was in the army, like let's say like 2007, right? Because I did that. My first deployment, my second deployment was 2007. After that, like you start seeing the amount of people that have their combat infantryman badges start like dropping drastically, and then you hear the stories of how they got it, and then you're like,
How do you get it?
Yeah, how do you
we're
get
not. So technically, the book definition is you have to be engaged, and then you have to engage the enemy.
So you have to be an infantryman, and you have to be in like documented, combat, like gunfights.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then they started giving them out like it depends on the unit, right? Because the standards, but like they gave them out for guys hitting like IEDs. They gave them out for like indirect.
During our time, because we were there in the shit. We were there about the same time.
Yeah.
It was like there was no question.
Yeah,
Everyone was in a gunfight at some point.
But they just gave them out like they just like we were all like everyone in the unit is gonna get these because of the amount of combat we're in.
Yeah.
So like we'll just give like my platoon, right? You send a squad out on patrol, they get in a fucking gunfight, they come back and like, hey, we'll put you guys in for CIBs, and then they're like, we're just gonna sit on it though, because we'll send another squad out tomorrow. So then they did like a mass like you guys, everybody gets, and then they came out with the CAB, which is the combat audience badge.
What's that?
No, it's like the
people that aren't infantry.
Yeah,
they kind
they-
of wanted the same badge.
Yeah.
I don't want to disparage them, but
Yeah.
they still wanted credit.
You don't have to get you don't have to
For
get
getting
engaged.
some
They
combat.
gave them out to people when I was in Afghanistan for like
They're just in
rockets
country.
hit. Yeah, rockets hit the base they were on.
Yeah.
They didn't even fucking hear
They
it.
slept through it.
Yeah.
So what's the EIB? What do you get? What do you have to
EIB
do
is
for that
an
one?
expert infantry badge. So essentially, when there's no time of war, you can't really earn a CIB, right? You got to
Okay.
be in a war. So EIB is expert infantry badge. All the things that make us an infantryman, so our knowledge of weapons, land navigation, physical fitness, marksmanship, they basically test that to the extreme.
Yep. And then there's like so you take a PT test at the beginning. Usually it's 30 stations, right? It just
It's
it depends.
whatever they set.
Yeah,
up.
yeah, because they change it. Like they used to be lanes and it goes back and forth, so it's hard to tell what they're doing now. And then you do all those things. Have to pass all of them, like be like throw grenades and like different, like a bunker or trench, blah blah blah, and then like disassemble, reassemble, do a functions check on a or load and unload, whatever, disassemble, yeah, for like a Mark 19, and you have to do it under a time cap, and you have to do it by like, you have to do it by like the book standard,
Yeah.
and if you mess it up a little bit,
Done.
yeah,
Ball load.
yeah,
It's really strict.
Even if it
standards.
works, you didn't do it the right way.
yeah, you have to do it in sequence.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, there's a 12-mile ruck march, and then they do like the last one that I saw them do. Like you did the 12-miler, and then after the 12-miler, you had to do like the last station was like you had to like do the stuff with like the last station after the 12-miler. They make it super easy, but it was like load and unload. You're M4, do a function check. It wasn't like anything crazy.
So my brother Blake, like he's badass. He's like six years younger than me. I can't remember. I don't know. He's older than me. But you know, he's always wanted to be like big brother, so he's always chasing those schools too, right? And he's like, I got to Pathfinder school.
So he didn't go to college either. is
No,
what I'm hearing.
yeah. He's an athletic guy too. But you know, he failed Pathfinder school, so I was like, yes, I can hold something over his head, right? Because he was a jump master and I wasn't, and because I wasn't in an airborne unit like him. But then he went back and he passed it. And I'm like, shit. You know, and he's a jump master, so I'm like, yeah, he's actually cooler
he's
than
pulled
I am
ahead.
now. Yeah. Damn it.
Then you had to go back and go to airborne.
Does he have a black belt jiu-jitsu though?
No, he doesn't. He's soft.
See,
No, he's a great wrestler, and he'll be like a forever blue belt.
Yeah, my little brother's a purple belt. He hurt his knee when he was in the military. He just now got it fixed. And so he's gonna, after he goes through all the physical therapy and stuff, he'll start training again.
Nice.
He's a weirdo though. He's a 10th planet guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah, pot smoking hippie.
they come up with some cool stuff, man. Some of it I'm like, that looks kind of crazy. Some of it I'm like, that's really cool.
How's your knee not broken after this?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I keep it simple.
Yeah,
I'm like, I ain't do all that shit. I'm too old for that shit.
that was awesome. We had Zanji here the other day, dude. It was like this most simple fundamentals. It was awesome.
Yeah, I was fangirling during that podcast.
dude.
He showed me a video, which we got he gave us the video. We're gonna put it on the episode, but he showed me a video of him. Like, so my 3 favorite grapplers of all time, Rodolfo Vieira.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, right. Like like his guard passing is just fucking. It's just
And he's a big guy.
yeah, it's unbelievable. And then Shanji, like to have him on here, I was like,
it was so funny.
and
too.
he showed it. Yeah,
Quiet? Was he actually
no,
talking?
a little-
No, he was talking. No,
Yeah,
it was fine.
yeah.
It was funny though, because when we were out on the mats and he was like showing him like stuff, like Pat was doing stuff like not the right way that he
Right,
wanted
yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
and he's like, "No, why aren't you doing it like
Yeah,
this?"
it's because I'm terrified.
Yeah, you got nervous. I
Yeah,
know.
like if you look, so like Matt Smith with a gun
Yeah.
is like Shanji getting inside control
Right,
on
yeah,
top.
Right.
Like
That's
it's both,
where they were.
Yeah, like and
Yeah.
so he was like he's like do this, and I'm like I don't want to be here. But he showed this video of him guillotine choking Brillo Estima and Rodolfo Vieira at the same time while Megaton Diaz refereed and
It wasn't a
Buchecha-
real match.
Yeah, it wasn't
a match.
That's awesome.
It was like
It's like drunken
it was
wrestling.
like drunken wrestling after
Yeah.
like ADCC.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
It's some like
Yeah,
hotel
He
lobby
was
or
in a
something.
hotel lobby, and Buchecha's sitting with his arms up like this on a couch watching it happen.
Like in the background.
That should
yeah.
be a painting. You know how they have that
God.
painting of all the old Hollywood
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
Like that should be a painting.
That would
We
be
could-
cool.
we could
Like
make
an
that
oil
happen.
painting.
Yeah.
We could make that happen.
That'd be dope.
Yeah, it was. But he
We
showed
have the
the
video. We could
He
do it.
showed me the video on the podcast, and I was like,
That's
like,
awesome.
did I just get my period?
Dude, Rodolfo Vieira. So my professor, Davi Ramos.
Ramos, yep.
Yeah, ADCC 2016.
Fought in the
gold
UFC
medalist.
too.
Yeah, fought in the UFC.
He did that. He armbarred that dude that was seated with his hands up,
flying
and he
armbar.
jumped into the armbar. I'm a jujitsu.
Oh, so you know him. Okay.
Oh, yeah,
so
yeah.
Davi, great friend of mine. He's actually my next level up professor
Yeah, yeah.
right now. And he owns Autos Rio. And Rodolfo trains there with him. And that's who's coaching him through his UFC fights and stuff. So that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I just like those guys.
Awesome.
Crazy. Yeah, but that podcast was again. I was like, it takes a lot for me. Like, I don't get like starstruck.
Well, when I come around, you can see a little bit.
Also, like, what's it? He says he's like, I don't get.
excited to see me.
He was so excited. He's like, when are we having fun on the podcast? When are we having fun on the
Yeah.
Let's
podcast?
talk about you.
It's so long.
Yeah,
It was-
why? That's my boy.
No, I know.
We have a thing going on.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's cute.
It's okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But also like for someone to say that he doesn't get starstruck that much, like you heard before, he's like I went to New Wave and John complimented me 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only so. Listen, if I met like I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. If I met like Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love, like cool.
Yeah.
But like John Danaher, like again, I'm a jiu-jitsu nerd. Like
Yeah.
John Danaher, fucking
Yeah.
Shanji Hibero, like
Yeah.
like I filmed the video that I put out on Instagram to say he was coming 7 times because I was so nervous.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He like walked around the
That's
building
super funny.
finding better spots.
Yeah.
to
Let me
take
say
it.
something about John Danaher though. I mean, when you go, I got a chance to go to Roca. I got Big Dan invited me. I got to train with him there, and man, John is an imposing individual. Not because of his stature or anything. It's just he's so quiet, and when he chooses to say something, it's
Yeah.
of importance.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? And the training environment there is like a library. Like my gym, it's like music's loud, like
Yeah,
people are yelling. You know, there it's like quiet.
We are the same.
Yeah, it's like quiet. All you hear is groans and moans and
And people tapping.
tapping.
Yeah.
like every, you know, and it's
That's what Giancarlo teaches. There's like no music
Yeah.
going.
yeah, right,
It's
right.
like-
And
it seems weird. to
it's an
hear.
awesome experience. And yes, Danaher did give me a compliment too. He said it was nice to meet me. I was like, I'll pump. That's it.
Yeah.
Pat would say that Pat would count that as a compliment.
Yeah,
that might have been
yeah.
one of the things.
Yeah,
Might have
big,
I counted when he shook my hand a compliment.
yeah, big Dan even said, "Hey, that's good, bro." I'm like,
Yeah, you know,
likes you. He likes you.
whenever you walk up and John's like, thanks for coming back, and you're like, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
You remembered me? Oh my god.
Yeah,
That
And
being said,
and listen, he remembers everyone's name.
yeah.
Like everyone that comes, I was like, hey,
I mean, he's like super genius, smart.
yeah. Does he remember? He's like, yeah, he does.
And they said I could come back.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if they
That's
were
a good sign.
lying to me.
Yeah,
They might have been lying to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Big
Was
Dan
April
was
Fool's
like,
Day?
"Hey,
They give you
tell him
they,
he said he could come back, but we're never."
they give you he gives you an address to some random place in Houston.
Well, we train here now.
Yeah. We moved. This is in Colorado. Yeah.
We go up there.
We love the mountains.
This is 10th Planet's address.
So weird.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Just kidding. The guys at 10th Planet are amazing.
Do you have any plan on like competing or anything?
Yes, I am going to try to compete at ADCC Open in Dallas,
Okay.
Masters Division.
Nice.
Okay.
Were you
Um,
just at Pans?
I was, yeah. I had a student that was competing, a couple
Nice.
students. Yeah, tough, man, tough brackets, tough competition. It was awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, Altos did well. So
That's great.
Yeah.
So I think we said before, we highlighted it, right? Like you started wrestling when you were in high school. How did that happen? How did you like find your way into
Oh.
jiu-jitsu?
okay, yeah, it's a great story actually. So I was a football player. I played football like Pop Warner. Always kind of a star in that aspect. Went to high school. I played varsity as a sophomore.
Wow.
At a very good school.
Yeah.
That was known for a football program. So
Scholarship, got a scholarship for
I
football.
was
Yeah.
getting- My senior year, I was getting looked at by a few different colleges. I had some offers on the table. Humboldt was one of them, and they were like D3,
Yeah.
D2, D3 colleges. But
Still.
but still, it was something. And so football was my thing. I played baseball for fun.
Mhm.
I did track one year just to do
Why
it.
not? Yeah.
And then, like, I think it was my junior year, I tried wrestling. Just because I had friends that were on the football team, and they're like, "Dude, you got to try wrestling. You might be good at it." I'm like, "Okay." So, and my thing at my household was kind of like, "Hey, Justin has to do sports like all year round, or Justin's gonna get in trouble." So that was
Idle
that.
hands, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I did sports year round and still got in trouble.
Yeah, right. And I still found time, right?
Yeah.
But so I wrestled, and I was like, man, I'm pretty decent at this. And I
Yeah.
was always like an aggressive kid.
Mhm.
So that I think that really helped
I'm sure.
with my high school wrestling. So, I did well there. And then when I got to junior college, I was like, everyone's like, yes, football. I was like, no, I'm going to wrestle. They're like, what? Like, dude, you're not even like, you're okay at wrestling.
You
but
barely
like-
started wrestling. Most people have been wrestling since they
Yeah.
were 4.
Yeah.
You started.
But I liked it, man. I like the physical
Bro,
contact.
you would be surprised how many dudes like get really good, like that never wrestled and they
Yeah.
start their like freshman year and
Yeah.
they get really good. The problem is when you start so young, you're doing that like for 14 years of your life, like you get so
Yeah, it's gonna be
burnt
hard.
out.
That
like-
was the other thing about football is I'd been playing for so long.
Yeah.
I was kind of burnt
That makes
out.
sense.
I was kind of done with
Yeah.
football. So anyway, so I wrestled. So I joined the Army. I'm off. We're at pre-deployment training. I'm at Fort Bliss, Texas, for pre-deployment.
Great
training.
place.
Yeah, wonderful place.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to
It's
go
not.
to Baghdad,
Yeah.
I didn't
and
think so.
we're in the barracks, and we're being dudes, right? We're wrestling. I'm picking everyone up, slamming them in high crotches and double legs, and pinning everyone. And I was a big kid at that age, 19 years old. I was 215 or so, and I was strong. And then one of my buddies, he's a new team leader in the recon platoon, and he had just gotten back from Ranger Bat. He's like, "Hey, I'll wrestle you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." He was like 180. I'm like,
Like easy.
I'm gonna fuck this dude
easy
up.
work, right? Pick this dude up in a double leg, and he guillotines me.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, "What's this front headlock bullshit? You can't do that."
Can't
Just
choke
gets
me.
the rules.
You can't do
Choke
that
me,
in
bro.
wrestling,
Yeah.
right? And he's explaining, "Oh, it's a choke." And I'm like, "What the hell is a choke?"
Yeah, it's a choke, bitch. I went unconscious.
Yeah. So
What's a joke?
so he's like, "I learned it at level 1, Army Combatives level 1." I'm like, "Okay, whatever this is, I got to go to it."
Yeah.
Right? This dude just like stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
So no joke, probably like 3 weeks later, they were like, "Hey, does anyone have any volunteers to go to level 1?" I was like, "Oh my God.
Like, yes, please.
Send me." So I
What
went,
year was this? Like 2005?
2004, 2003.
Bro, I didn't get combatives until I was like a staff sergeant.
Yeah.
Like I got it at ALC. I got level 1 at ALC.
Yeah,
I already took second. I lost to Tim at the Combatives. I already took second at the Combatives. No fucking clue that there was courses for this shit.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, you were already training jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but I
MMA.
didn't.
You was
like,
fighting
I was-
MMA
I was a
already.
private.
Yeah, I didn't know there was like. Yeah, no, I didn't know there was like. Yeah, I already fought MMA. Like I already did the Combatives. I didn't know they had courses.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like you guys teach this stuff
Yeah,
too?
yeah.
Honestly, it was one of
I
those.
got in ALC.
It was one of those things that was like they had a slot and they're like, "Who wants to go?" And probably the older guys were like,
That
fuck,
sounds
Fuck
stupid.
that.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Send Flood. He's a wrestler guy." You know what I mean?
Same.
Did
Yeah.
you just house everybody at Combatives though?
Oh, dude, just
Yeah.
smashed everybody.
Yeah.
Right. Once I learned like a little bit of like positional type
Mhm.
stuff, I started smashing everyone. And then I got to go back to level 2 later. And then they started bringing me back to level 1 as like a puncher,
Yeah.
which was awesome. It was so much fun, just punching people in the face. And then when I, after deployments and stuff, I got back to California and I was like, okay, I got to continue this. And back then it was hard to find just like jiu-jitsu,
Yeah.
right? So of course,
What for reference? What year is this?
2005-ish.
Yeah,
six,
still super
you know,
early. Yeah.
And so it was, okay, I went to this MMA place. It was a place called Dynamic Karate. So it wasn't like a pure, but it was a Health Gracie spot.
Oh, that's
at,
cool.
at-
Nice.
at first. And our professor was Dave Camarillo. Dave Camarillo
Oh,
and
no big deal.
Health Gracie split, right?
Yeah.
And so we got Dave, and so we were doing guerrilla jiu-jitsu. And what was great about this was Dave was a black belt in judo, a black belt in
They
jiu-jitsu.
also made rules because of him. Like
100%,
you
yeah.
can't do flying attacks in judo anymore
Yeah.
because of Dave
Right.
Camarillo.
He was a stud, dude. He was
Yeah.
killing people. And then so his whole thing was his jiu-jitsu was jiu-jitsu, judo, and wrestling. So this was like before
That's awesome.
this was cool. Right
Yeah.
now it's like, hey, if you're gonna be good, like let's say nogi,
You
Yeah.
have to do this
You
shit.
gotta
to
do
wrestle,
everything, yeah.
Right. So I was a wrestler. So I'm like, dude, this suited me. I could put
Yeah.
people on their back, I could get on top and then stay there. Because I didn't know what else to do, right? But so I trained MMA and started punching people in the face, learning to stand up, and I love that. And by the way, when I was in high school, my parents in the summertime, remember I said that sports rule?
Yeah.
They put me in boxing.
Oh, shit.
at
Nice.
Police Activities League. So you can imagine my MMA was I'm gonna box just to get within range so I can shoot a takedown. Probably,
Yeah.
That's probably like Pat's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, jab, overhand right,
Boom,
and
boom,
head
boom.
kicks
Yeah.
from really close range.
Yeah.
I used to I would be like this close to somebody, I would throw a head kick, and they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
You that flexible?
Yeah, bro.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Was.
Was, yeah.
No, still am. Still am.
You'll find out later.
My
Jeff.
hips hurt, but yeah, I can still do that.
Doesn't feel as good after.
No.
But
Yeah.
it still happens.
Yeah, I got to stretch. Take Jared Hall.
So that was my progression, man. Like it was MMA, and then back then, like if we did jujitsu in the no-gi, it's because we were doing MMA, or we were doing striking and taking it to the ground. And then all my formal jujitsu was normally in the gi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then probably halfway through my career, we started getting a little more focused on no-gi stuff, and then about 2017, my gym switched over to Atos affiliation. We had Davi Ramos come in and training with us. And
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I got my black belt from Davi and Andre in 2018.
Nice.
So I'll be coming up on my second degree here in October.
Cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you want to get some extra energy without everything you're going to find in some energy drinks? Get some Go Pills. Go Pills are all natural, made in the USA, no gelatin, plant-based. Try some Go Pills today.
It is interesting. You said like, back then, like no one was like really putting all those things together. And now, even though jiu-jitsu's gotten so big, it feels like it's almost less jiu-jitsu and more of everything. Dude. Because everyone's just realizing and I think it's probably because of the rule set, right? Like ADCC, and it's just grappling now.
Here's the thing. And I'm going to piss some people off. I love this. And the Brazilians, man, I mean this with all due respect, but they're very defensive about this. They shouldn't be, but the Brazilians took jiu-jitsu from Japan. Yeah. Right? They didn't invent it.
Nawaza, dog. Nawaza.
Yeah. Now, when they brought it to Brazil, of course, man, they did so much for the sport. They evolved it to a point where it was like insanely good, right? But then they brought it to America, and that's where Americans have taken over. Yeah. Okay? And this is a largely unpopular opinion for some Brazilians, because they will tell you that nothing has changed. Yeah. Everything has changed, bro.
100%.
I have seen 100% different jiu-jitsu now than I have in the early days.
But I think jiu-jitsu. Part of it too is like, so if you look at like wrestling, right? Like a wrestling coach, they're so good at breaking down moves. Like you watch John Smith break down how to do a low single. Or you watch Kenny Monday on how to do a blast up, or Jordan Burroughs, right? Like, and see how they break down moves. I think that's the biggest evolution in jiu-jitsu in America is you take these guys who are so good and meticulous about teaching things like wrestling, and they start doing jiu-jitsu. They learn the jiu-jitsu, and then they learn how their coaches taught them how to wrestle. They transfer that jiu-jitsu, and then they that becomes like all encompassing, and they get really, really good at breaking down techniques, which makes it easier for the average person to learn, which brings everyone up.
There's that, but also it's like, wrestling is our sport. At least like it's one of our pastimes here in America, right?
Especially folk style.
Yeah, for sure. And, freestyle. And so like we've taken wrestling and really put it into jiu-jitsu more than the Brazilians have. I would debate that.
I mean, 100%.
Yeah.
Although if you look at like Ricardo Arona and in 97, like ADCC, that dude didn't do any jiu-jitsu.
And I'm not saying, I'm not saying there's no good wrestlers.
No. I understand.
Look at Mika Galvo and all the guys from Milk. Oh my God. Amazing wrestlers.
Fabricio
Andre. Oh, dude.
Just less common in Brazil to wrestle.
Yeah. And so I think with the fusion of American wrestling and then our ability to be like, so Americans were like, well, why aren't we doing leg locks? I mean, Dean Lister, Jeff Glover, these guys 15 years ago were like, well, why aren't we doing heel hooks? Yeah. And, some of the older traditionals were like, well, because we don't.
Because we don't.
That's the way it is. I don't know.
And you look now, you go to any gym, throw a rock, go to any gym here in Austin and train with a white belt or a blue belt. Yeah. You better know heel hook defense.
Yeah. It's scary.
Or smash.
Or just smash.
Don't let them touch your legs.
Yeah.
That's Pat's plan. Don't touch my feet.
I stay like heavy.
But I say all this, but I think the Brazilians should say, hey, they did so much for the sport, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. And they should hold that with a badge of honor, but then also acknowledge the world is now evolving jiu-jitsu into a new place.
I think it's also like short-sighted to be like, oh, like jiu-jitsu is the same as it was. Like, why wouldn't you want it to like evolve? Like
get better.
That's like, I feel like what's really happening, right? Like it's being stress tested against all these other things. That's what the UFC was like originally for, to like show how jiu-jitsu was better than everything else. But now everyone kind of like started doing a little bit of it and just figured it out. And it's like, oh, cool, let's work these other things into it. And like, even, Pat will go over to Six Blades and like they'll do wrestling, because it's important.
If you go to a local high school wrestling tournament, you're going to see stuff we never saw back when we wrestled. You're going to see some judo in there. You're going to see some jujitsu type stuff. I mean, even the wrestling is changing.
Well, especially in Texas too. So if you go to a wrestling tournament in Texas, they've been doing jiu-jitsu. There's not a lot of kids wrestling programs, right? There's a couple, but mainly like a lot of the people who wrestle have done jiu-jitsu and then so like Lily, for instance, Lily's brother, Sean, I think his name is. Yeah. Like they did jiu-jitsu and then wrestled. So a lot of the stuff that you see them do, you're like, that's a it's a jiu-jitsu move.
Yeah. For
But
sure.
also, there's some moves that like I did when I was younger that I haven't seen, like a switch, like there's a regular basic wrestling switch.
Yeah.
Like you ask some of the kids who wrestle, like, hey, like for me, it's like stand up, sit out, switch.
Yeah.
Like those are the 3 moves from bottom.
Yep.
And you talk to them and they're like, no, it's a switch. And you're like, I just lost all the energy. I hate you so much.
Yeah.
And you can hit switches standing up too.
Yeah. I'm pretty fortunate at my gym, Ottos Weatherford, like one of my brown belts, he's like 4-stripe brown belt. He's the head high school wrestling coach. And
that's
He's
awesome.
got 100 dudes on his wrestling team.
What?
That's what I'm
insane.
talking about, bro.
Insane,
Even in
bro.
Kansas,
That's so
you don't
insane.
have that.
100. And anyways, I mean, he's been teaching wrestling for 30 years. He was stationed here at Fort Hood, or I'm sorry, Fort Cavazos. He trained at,
Cavassier.
yeah, Cavassier. He trained at Legends, like, you know, so he's been around the block for sure. And now he's up there teaching kids. Like I bring him in. I wrestled. I was a decent wrestler, but I bring him into my classes and I'm like, yo, you get the first 20 minutes, do all wrestling stuff.
That's
Because
awesome.
he's in it right now. He's doing it.
That's my every class I do every day.
Yeah. Well, and if he's not there, I teach wrestling, right? I can teach wrestling, obviously. But to have a guy he lives and breathes wrestling, and oh, by the way, he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like he brings a great aspect to my gym.
100%. There's also like that intensity. I feel like that like wrestling has that
Yes.
jiu-jitsu, like maybe some jiu-jitsu has, but it's definitely, you could tell people who are like wrestlers in just like their pacing and their speed and how they go through things versus like
Full throttle.
which like sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
And like to like that push, especially if you want to compete, right?
Yeah, like I look at the difference between wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Like wrestling is like you come up to a wall and then like you identify there's a wall in front of you and you just knock that motherfucker down as many times
just
as
run
takes.
through it.
Yeah, jiu-jitsu is you come up to a wall, you recognize it's a wall and you go,
Can I remove this brick?
no, I'm just gonna walk around the outside.
Yeah.
Like it's the wall's only 8 feet wide. Why do I have to go straight through it? I can just go. I just do a right face, fucking 12 paces to the front, left face. Oh, that's the edge. Yep, that's easy.
Well, I mean, that's why guys love no-gi jiu-jitsu too. I mean, you can use that athleticism, that dynamic movement, you know, I mean, you can get out of things a little bit faster.
Hashtag
sometimes.
let go of my feet.
Straight up.
So as a wrestler and you know, you've been training for, what do you like more? Do you like gi, no gi?
Yeah, people ask
A
me
little bit
that
of both.
all the time. I train 50-50.
Really?
Yeah, I train 50.
That's interesting.
Now,
Me too.
if I had to look back at my career, there was times where I probably did more gi than no gi,
Mhm.
but I train half and half, and I always like, look, I get it. If you're going to be a full-time competitor at no gi, then you should train all
Yeah,
gi, right?
Yeah,
If you're going to be a
100%.
full-time competitor gi, then train all on the gi. But my guys that are coming up in my gym, I always encourage, like, do half and half, man. There's things you can do with the gi that you can't do no gi and vice versa. And you got to learn some of those nuances. And sometimes gi will make you more technical in certain aspects, right? And then sometimes no gi will teach you more athleticism.
Well,
more
and
movement,
cardio,
and cardio. Holy
right?
crap,
Like
yeah.
you can see, you can, when you do gi, you can hold someone down or try to, and you can kind of chill.
Yep.
It's a little bit harder to do.
Yep.
And no gi.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to like
100%. My first school, they were super on like do both, and it was like no-gi. Like no-gi is really important because you'll get better at attacks because like it's just much harder to like just hold anything, and then gi, like you'll be better at escaping because it's so much harder, right? Because there's so much friction and stuff.
And I've noticed that like the older I get, the more I like to train in the gi.
Yeah, a little slower.
It's a little slower, but if you ask me like, hey, you want to compete? What do you want to compete in? I honestly don't give a shit. Like if you said I got a gi match for you next week, I'll be like, cool, I'll be there. If you tell me like I have a no gi match for you next week, like cool, I'll be there. Like I'm just gonna bring different clothes. I might even bring a gi if you say it's a no gi match, just in case someone drops out. I'll fight somebody else. It's happened before.
Yeah.
We'll do 2 matches.
I did a submission hunter in Colleen. I did twice, 2 separate submission hunters. I did 2 matches.
Gosh dang.
And I usually volunteer if like someone's like, oh, they didn't make weight. I was like, I'm like, pop around the corner like, you got another one of the matches?
I'm gonna give Pat a compliment here, a short-lived compliment.
Okay.
But he's been training in this area for so long, and there's only so many people that he could go against that it's actually really hard for him to find a match.
I know.
Because once they find out that it's him, they're like,
I've already
I'm good.
lost it.
I'm good. I don't need this super fight. We're cool.
Also, the match isn't gonna be flashy. Like if you want to get a jiu-jitsu match and like you want it to be flashy and pretty, that's not what we're doing. Like, I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to take you down. I'm going to get you in a body lock.
Yeah.
It's going to suck.
It's going to be slow and heavy.
Yeah, I am.
Pressure.
Yeah, I am going to pass your guard.
You're gonna wrestle fuck him.
Yeah.
Or really just pull guard on you just to fuck with your head.
And then I'll body lock them and then pass their guard. It's the same thing's going to happen. And then I'll get to mount. I'll single out like an arm, like maybe stay in half guard, get a Kimura. But as soon as we get there, like it's like that's
So I know this firsthand experience. I coached Pat at the 2023 Pans.
no-gi
Nice.
pants.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring that up.
Yeah.
So that's the one you
gold
won,
medalist,
right?
Gold medalist,
Yeah.
world
medalist.
champion.
Yeah.
World
So-
champion.
Yeah.
Look
So
at
listen, but here's the deal. So
Coach.
yeah. So listen. So you're not like you're like an hour away from there.
Yeah.
But I messaged. I met you twice,
Yeah.
right? And we talked on Instagram like we're teenage girls.
Right.
And I was like I posted I'm doing pans, and you're like, hey, like when is it? I see it in your like, do you need a coach? I go, yes, I need a coach. You were like, I'll be there, and my man showed up for me,
Yeah.
and let me drill my stuff on him to warm up. Like I had a good warm up, and then I went out there and he coached every match. I knew exactly what the time was. I knew where I was at, what I needed to do, and like. I also had like for my finals match, it was you, Maka,
you had a mark people
Jamie
before.
Canuto. Like I had like a all like if a fight would have broke out, we would have been okay. Yeah.
And I tried to go with the approach of time and if you need to score,
Yeah.
if you're up or down,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because he knows what to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be like, hey, Pat, take your left hand, grab his right ankle. Like that's stupid. Any coach that's ever coached me like that, I'm like, dude, I have no idea what the hell you're saying.
Yeah.
Which was perfect though, because I was never down.
3 minutes? I heard that shit. 3 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
That is the worst, especially like I don't know, as only a blue belt and competing a handful of times, right? Like they're like, do this. I'm like, I can barely understand that you're talking to
Right.
me. I'm dying right now. Like this is not super helpful.
I whenever I coach someone, the only time that I will really yell out what instructions to do is if they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like if I could see that like they're separating your arms and your posture's broken and you're in their guard, I'm like, get big,
Yeah.
get big, because you're about to get triangled.
Right.
And then-
Posture up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, and then time, and then points, and then I like to talk shit to the referee.
Nice.
Yeah,
That
but
sounds like a great move.
Solid.
yeah, like
I'm sure that won't go bad.
Also, but like again though, like this is a Brazilian sport.
Yeah.
There's times
That's
where
what
like
the Brazilians do.
I
They
ca-
get to the ref.
yeah, I count for the ref. When one of my students gets
Yeah.
mount, I go 1, 2, 3. That's points. Good job. And then the ref's like, fuck.
You got to keep them honest.
Yeah.
Those dudes will take like 7-8 seconds to award points.
Especially if you're white as shit.
sometimes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like if you're at a IBJJF tournament, like you got to hold that shit a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly.
Not saying that IBJJF is biased or anything like that, or they let people poke you in the eye to defend takedowns. I'm not bitter about that at all. I lost 4 contacts
Yeah,
in one
we've
weekend.
never heard this before.
Yeah, I lost 4 contacts in one weekend because I shot a sick double leg, and the dude was like, double eye poke.
Both eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's a good technique.
Do you
Yeah.
mess up? Were you not wearing your Brazilian gi with your patches?
No.
For them to know that
No.
you were
GF
affiliated?
team? No.
Wasn't it Nicky Rod? Nicky Rod said he's going to implement that as a defense strategy.
Yeah.
Sprawl and then
Double-
eyeballs.
Yeah, double eye poke.
Show me in the rules where it says you can't do that.
Which, by the way, that guy's a monster.
So if
We
we're
got-
combining
we got-
martial arts, let's throw some Krav Maga in there. Fuck
Yeah,
it.
that's what
Why
they
not,
did,
you
yeah.
know?
Might as well if you want to lose.
So the thing that killed it, you probably saw this too, being in the army, is like you're like, hey, let's talk about like let's do combatives, and like combatives is stupid. Let's do Krav Maga, and you're like,
Oh my God.
so you want to do
All the energy's left in my
yeah,
body.
yeah. I mean, you're just like, oh my god. So you just want to do like, I don't know the right words, so we don't
Crotch kicks.
We're
Crotch kicks and eye pokes.
gonna do crotch punches for an hour.
Crotch punch for
Like,
an
and
hour.
we're gonna eye gouge.
pokes.
Like that's what we're gonna do, but we're not gonna learn how to control someone's body.
Nope.
Groin kick and hammer punch from like right here.
yeah.
Thumb in the
And
eye.
you're like,
That's all you need, guys.
And-
No, it's not effective.
Bite,
then-
and bite them.
yeah, and then you're like, oh, like my instructor is a black belt in Krav Maga. And I'm like, oh my god.
By the way, I
Cool.
say this. The Army sent me to a Krav Maga instructor course.
Yeah.
So I've been to the Krav Maga instructor course. I've been to the Spear, which is Tony Blauer instructor course. I've been to all these different
Spear.
things.
Spear. That wasn't a high five. I hate that shit.
Oh, I thought it was gonna be like another
No.
thing Pat didn't get to go do.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
No.
He
Spear.
didn't, well, he
stop
didn't get
it.
to do it. That's actually why he is
Yeah,
so salty
That's why
about it.
it's- yeah, it is. But I will say, I've done those courses, and I had an open mind. Okay, when I did those courses,
Yeah,
and then I walked away, and I was like,
that's not gonna work.
"Yeah, no."
It's like when the CrossFit had the CrossFit combatives. It was Tony Blauer's spear technique.
Yep, it's
And I was
one
like,
of those.
hey, like, I got it. You guys want to be the best at fitness? Just stick to that shit. If you want to learn how to fight, go to a jiu-jitsu school. There's a reason why there's a million of them. And like, it's the fastest growing martial art in the world.
Tim said it, Tim Kennedy, and I'll say it. Like, you can't do a martial arts that doesn't pressure test itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to do boxing? That's cool. Then you're going to punch someone in the face and you're going to get punched.
Yep.
Kickboxing, wrestling, judo, jiu-jitsu, you learn stuff and then you try it on a person that's resistant.
Except for when you have those people who go, like you fight them in an MMA fight, and they're like, the only reason you beat me is like I couldn't use my most dangerous technique
Yeah.
because they're illegal in every state, but like New York, and you're like,
The double eye gouge.
I hate you, bro. I'm so happy I got to punch you in the face like 10 minutes ago.
I thought it was like some like 5-finger death punch
Yeah.
or something. Bah.
Great band. Great band. 5-finger death punch.
Shout out to Yako.
Jocko.
Shout out.
And Yako's holy water.
Speaking of though, this is not a plug. I don't work for them. I wish I did. But have you worn the Epic Roll gear?
Nuh-uh.
Bro.
Is it nice?
Super
It's
nice.
legit.
Yeah.
Mm.
I got, so Origin sent me some gis, and
Also very
I love them. Right. And then I have that Giancarlo Future Kimonos
Ooh.
rash guard with the sheepdog, like with the sheepdog flag on the back.
Yeah.
It's dope. And also Heroes Jiu-Jitsu rash guards. Yep.
Now in stock.
Yeah, now in stock. I'm gonna put them out.
You gotta
before
you gotta
Friday.
come through.
Fuji?
No, DD214.
Yeah. Awkward.
We're actually gonna go with that Tantra or Tanantra or whatever you pronounce
Tantra.
Tantra.
We're doing Tantra in here?
Tan-
Tommy?
it. No. One of my buddies,
Damn, that's like
one of
2
my
years
buddies,
ago.
like owns it,
Okay.
and they're gonna do like he did a mock up of like the new like fight kit, and it's like dope
That's cool.
by one of my buddies.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, one of my buddies, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick is the one that owns Tantra.
The Tantra.
Yeah.
Tantra.
The Tantra.
How do you say it?
Toronto.
Nobody cares. All right.
Got him.
You walked right into
I,
that.
did- I really did. What did I expect? I don't know.
There's a bunch of fucking children in this bitch.
All right. What else you got going on, Flood? What do you have?
Hey, wait,
next?
hold on. So let's,
My bad.
Yeah, hold on. How did you get hooked up with Sheepdog?
Oh, that's a great story
Oh,
because
man, that's good.
I feel like everyone has like a crazy Tim story.
Crazy origin story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, it's funny. I'll give my brother-in-law some credit. So this was years back. I was still living in California. I was a firefighter. I worked for a training team out west. They were called Op Tempo. They're still out there, but I was teaching, carbine, pistol. I was teaching all that stuff. And at the time, my wife had a business. It was called Whitney's Best, and she made elderberry syrup and elderberry gummies. And we went from like making it on our stove to like 47 stores of Whole Foods.
Is elderberry
Wow.
delicious?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And it's immune. It's great for your
That's
immune
an
system.
elderberry mead this past weekend.
Fire.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
And they're
Thorn's
still
mead. We'll
it's
shout
still a
to
company,
Thorin.
by the way. But we actually
What's it called?
Whitney's Best, like Whitney Houston. Whitney's Best.
Is there a website?
Whitney'sBest.com.
Yeah, go
it's
check
good
out
stuff.
Whitney's. I'm gonna go there after this and order some elderberry gummies.
Yeah, take it. It's good for your immune system.
Yeah.
But we started that business and we went from making it on the stove to having like a production facility and employees and yeah, it was the craziest thing. Like we went to one farmer's market when we first started making it and sold it like crazy.
Oh wow.
And like deliveries and like I was like, oh my gosh, maybe we have something here. And my wife's a genius at that stuff. And so yeah, we started
At
selling.
least one of you
we
is.
got thank God
Yeah.
for her. She puts up with me. But we got into like 47 Whole Food stores. We had a total of like 60 something retailers. We sold online.
Yeah.
Did really well.
That's awesome.
And at the time, Tim had posted something. I don't even remember what it was. Something immune system related. And I was like, dude, I was always a fan of Tim Kennedy when he was fighting in the UFC and, in the Army. And of course I was in the Army. And so I sent him some of our elderberry gummies. Like,
Nice.
maybe he'll like them. Maybe he'll post them. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he did. He messaged us back. He's like, dude, my kids love these. They're fire. Like, oh, cool, man. You know, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tim Kennedy, right on. So anyways, years later, and at the time, my brother-in-law told me, he's like, man, I had this weird dream. I had this dream that like, that you moved out to Texas and you started working for Tim Kennedy. This is like 5 years ago. I was like,
Damn.
I was like, bro, that's the craziest thing.
Yeah. Why would that happen?
That'll never happen.
Yeah, I was like, that would never happen.
Crazy.
Yeah. So, anyways, we ended up moving out here, sold our ranch out there, bought a ranch out here. And I was down in Austin and I had a bunch of product with me. It was before we sold the business. And I was like, oh, dude, I'll go buy a Sheepdog. I'd never been here. I was like, I'll go buy Sheepdog and drop some off. I'm sure he's a really busy guy. I'm sure he's not here, which he's not usually.
Yeah, he's definitely not usually here.
But
don't come and try and meet Tim.
Yeah, don't be trying to meet Tim.
Yeah, people like I'll be
Yeah.
teaching lunchtime jiu-jitsu class, which is my class. Like allegedly I'm the head instructor
They're
here.
like, you're not Tim.
Yeah, and they're like, is Tim gonna be here? I'm like, no, bitch. Like my guy's so busy.
Who cares about Tim?
I see the guy in 2 weeks.
I'm a really good jiu-jitsu instructor. We have very difficult roles, okay?
So I was just gonna drop it off, and I came by, and dude, he was here. He like answered the door, and I was like, okay, I wasn't prepared for this. And so I was like, hey man, like I'm that elderberry gummy guy. He was like, oh, my kids love it. So I gave him a bunch of stuff, and then he showed me around, showed me the mats, and I saw the mats, and I was like, whoa, dude, the mats are nice.
Yeah.
And he's like, and so he's like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu? And he was like, well, come tomorrow, come to Six Blades, we're gonna wrestle. And I'm like, well, I can't come tomorrow, but well, come Friday, we have Heroes Jiu-Jitsu, come train with me. So I'm like, okay. So I came back Friday, trained with him. Anyways, fast forward, so about a year of coming here kind of regularly, come train with Yako and Tim and Matt and everyone. Yako was like, or I finally said something to Yako. I was like, hey, do you need more instructors? And he was like, bro, yeah. Hell yeah. So I gave him, and he knew what I had been doing for another company and stuff. And so it was just a perfect fit. And the first course I came to as a shadow, I think we were short instructors, and I had been teaching this stuff for a long time. So I felt really comfortable. And Yako's like, well, get in there. If you want to teach a portion, teach a portion. And so I did. And it was just.
And then got choked out by Smashley.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was great, dude. Did you ever see that video?
No.
Oh,
really?
we taught a women's. Yeah, we taught
nice.
a women's class. It was like 45 women, and we're teaching the rear naked choke. And I made a comment like, yeah, even Ashley here, who she fought the UFC.
Well, hold on.
Even.
Yeah, and they're like, Patrick, will you let Ashley choke you out? I was like, no.
He's like, hell no. Yeah. And I was like, I'll let her choke me out. And they were like, no way. I was like, do you guys really want to see it? They were like, oh my God, yes, please. Because they didn't understand how long it takes to go out. And all that
Not
kind of
long
stuff.
at all.
Yeah. I signed a liability waiver too, Sheepdog and Tim Kennedy organization. So, so Ashley, 120 pounds or whatever, gets a rear naked choke, puts me out in like 3.5 seconds, right? Like it was a good choke, dude. And I had my hand up so they could see when my hand was like falling down. And I woke up and they were like, "Oh my God, that was awesome!" Yeah, that was cool.
Hard pass.
Sold 45 women on jiu-jitsu.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
There's so much.
I'll do anything for this organization. Apparently.
There's so much stuff wrong with me.
Anything.
There's like a 10% chance I'm not waking up.
You would have pooped your pants.
Yeah.
bro.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So, anyways,
Because of the cancer.
that's how I got to Sheepdog,
Yeah.
and I love being here. I love instructing, and
That's awesome.
honestly, I love the guys I work with because, you go to a civilian job, there might be people you like, people you don't like, but everyone here has that same warrior mentality. Like hey, we're gonna get the job done no matter what, and we're all gonna enjoy it, even if it's like the worst conditions.
Yeah.
Like, we thrive off that. We live in that environment.
Bro,
So-
were you here that time it hailed on us?
No, I was here the week before when it was like 12 degrees out there on the range. Yeah. Good times.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I would rather be 12 degrees out. Like I did a pro one and it was like 110 degrees out. That was super fun. Middle of July.
That was like one of the first, one of the first ones that I helped instruct. It was so fucking, and we pummeled with everybody. I drug a dude all the way back to the porta potties.
what about the guy you put in the trash can?
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I think that was that course.
Yeah.
That might have been that course.
I also, another guy, because we were pummeling and he turned around and shot a double leg on me, and I picked him up in the power bomb position and then walked around the range. And it's funny because there's a video of two people pummeling and you just see me walk by on my shoulders.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the video where I
Hip toss that dude?
hip toss
Yeah.
that guy? Do you know the backstory behind it?
No.
Oh man, so for whatever reason, that class we had was stacked with wrestlers. And I mean, like, we had a dude that was like, oh yeah, Iowa NCAA, Iowa State wrestler. Like,
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm pulling guard, bitch.
Yeah. We had all these guys, bro, that were like either college wrestlers or high school wrestlers. And I was like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
So, they were tearing it up on the mats, and there's 40 something people on the mats. So as an instructor, maybe we get 20 of them, but we never get everybody, right? So we get out to the range, and it's the last day. We're going to do our stress shoot, and the objective is to pummel to get the double unders.
Yeah,
that's the objective.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, nice guy, cool dude. He's like, he was a wrestler, and he was like, Are you ready? And I was like, I'm ready. Are you ready?
He's like, are you ready?
He goes, I'm ready to put you on your back. I was like, oh, dude, okay. And then he was joking, but he was gonna try to put me on my back.
Good mentality.
And which I love it, dude. And as an instructor, we're gonna give back what you give to us. If you're 60 years old and you're barely moving, but you're working, I mean, that's just what we're going to feed back, right?
Yeah.
If you're a 24-year-old and you're trying to double leg me, well, like,
I'm putting you through a table.
Yeah.
Also, if you put me on my back, I'm immediately butterfly sweeping you.
Yeah,
and now I'm in mount, and I'm not going to get off until they say, go shoot.
Yeah. So sure enough, man, when he came, he dropped down for a single. So wrestlers love an underhook.
Yeah.
And if they get that underhook, you throw the overhook in and you step right across them. And so that's what I did. And I sent him airborne. It was pretty dramatic. It was like upside down, everything.
I think that video might have deterred people from coming to our courses, actually.
It may have. Really sorry
We'll
about
have to
that.
find that video and repost it.
Oh, dude, there's like
That's a good one.
750,000 views or something like that.
See, I think it did pretty good.
Crazy.
People like it.
A lot of people do, but some people like some of the like different like
Self-defense instructors. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
or like,
why are you
look,
doing that on the dirt?
Yeah, like also like when people comment and be like, "That's not safe," like we're so safe at this
100%.
at our shooting courses. Like again, like all of us were like in the military at some point or another, so we're always super safe. Like when they say that, I'm like, oh God, because you can't do it.
Yeah,
Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, like it just kills me, and I'm just like, if you think that, just come to one of our courses.
And what was great is he got up.
But they won't.
No,
He got up and he was like, dude, that was freaking awesome. He's like, I've never been thrown like that in my life. He's like, my wife's going to love this video.
Yeah.
Like he was so
bro,
pumped about it.
people
That's
come
awesome.
here. People come to this
Oh,
course
100%.
for that.
Yeah.
Like that first course I did, there was two friends that came here, and like my point was to beat them up because, and then other like recording, and they're like we have that blue barrel that we put out. You have to run around. One of them grabbed the barrel and put it further away.
Oh my
Although, and he was the first one to go. All the old people were like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
That was a good time. That was a funny.
Yeah.
But although the next course, like we did have to have an instructor talk. Where like Yako's like, hey, can you guys let's make sure we don't throw anyone today? And we're like, we're not going to throw anyone. And then we're like, okay, Yako, the same guy that puts people into
We have
tables.
to buy a new canopy every fucking class because he shoves people through it.
But I was like, yes, we're not going to.
Situational awareness, guys. You have to know where the tables are. Avoid them.
Yeah.
That's the
Exactly.
point.
Or know where Yako's at and just avoid him.
Yeah.
Don't listen.
I don't think that's an option. Like,
Yeah,
I
but
think
if
you're going with Yako. You
Yeah,
don't
but
have
if
a
you're,
choice.
hey, listen, if you're one of the, like, say we're running 4 lanes and you're one of the people running, like you're running down to the barrel or whatever you're doing, just don't go to Yako's lane.
Exactly.
Go to someone else. Don't go to mine either. Because
Go to Floods. Yeah.
I'll put
Good
you.
idea.
Come to mine. Just be nice.
Yeah, I'll put
Be nice. I'm nice.
My goal is to put someone in the porta potty before I stop working.
I think that would be the end of you working here.
They'd be
Fair
like,
enough.
Pat, we have the conversation.
Yeah.
They're like, Pat, can you come in the office? please?"
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, you like no more Protector 1 and 2s. You're still going to teach Jiu-Jitsu because you have the biggest classes, but no more." Like,
the lawyer said that we shouldn't have done that.
yeah.
Our insurance won't cover us
Especially because when you
anymore.
put them in there, it fell over. So.
It became a hazmat issue.
Biohazard
Bro,
issues
you want to
now.
talk about a hazmat issue? We taught it was the couples. It was when we got hailed on. It rained. Like most people couldn't like drive down to the range.
Oh yeah,
It
it
was
gets muddy out there.
so bad, bro.
Yeah.
I've almost gotten stuck out in that.
Yeah,
range, in
Lily
the mud.
called me and she's like, "Can you come get me?" I was like, "I'm not in my truck. I'm in a rental car right now. I have like a Dodge Charger. There's no way that thing's making it down there. Let's just walk."
That's just what. Yeah, it's only an hour away.
Well,
So
no. From,
Oh, you meant like from the road?
yeah.
Got it,
Well,
got it,
from
got
the parking area, which also is
Walking?
sketchy.
Still a long ways.
Yeah.
in the mud for sure.
Yeah. So Flood, where can people follow you at, bud?
Oh man, Instagram for sure. It's
Yeah, what's
at Flood WJ. So at Flood WJ, FLOOD WJ. That's just my personal account. And then of course, at Autos Weatherford is my gym. If you want to see what my gym looks like or see how
It
we
is
train.
the nicest gym.
Yeah,
It
you
is
got,
so
you got
nice.
hot and cold, like you got a cold plunge and a sauna, right?
Yeah. Cold plunge, sauna. We have a classroom where we can conduct. We did our first sheepdog course up there a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Packed. We
The
had almost
classroom's so
50
nice.
people. Yeah. Insane.
Well, and you have seminars there all the time. You have one coming up, right?
Yeah, well, we had to cancel one of them, but yeah, we had Big Dan. We'll have Andre Galvo is going to come out. Hopefully, we can get him in the fall.
Nice.
He doesn't know that yet. And then Davi Ramos is coming out.
Cool.
So I'm talking with him right now. So we're going to try to line something up this summer. But yeah, we're always doing something. So check us out. Stay tuned, and we'll post it.
Cool.
Nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
Maybe Pat will come out and do a seminar for you.
Dude, I would love Pat to come out. He's too lazy though. He doesn't want to drive up there. He says.
What do you? I've been, bro, lazy. I work 8 days a week.
He really does. Like,
I know.
I forget what month it was, but we were running courses like 3 weekends, and I'm like, Pat, you're doing this. You working this weekend?
February.
He's like, no, I literally worked the past 2 weekends.
Yeah. Like, and the thing
He's
is,
like, I'm going to see my daughter.
yeah, a lot of the time, like most people, when they do courses, they work here, they'll get like a day off,
Yeah.
right? I can't take a day off because
Yeah.
I teach jujitsu.
Yeah.
Right, you
Yeah,
have to teach
probably.
it.
Yeah, so I'm here every day.
Speaking of jiu-jitsu, so my gym is a Heroes Jiu-Jitsu affiliate.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we do
Nice.
Heroes Jiu-Jitsu every Thursday night. It's free to
What time?
What time?
6 p.m. and it's no-gi. I know everyone loves no-gi, so it's
Nice.
no-gi.
Yeah.
There you go.
And it's open for veterans, first responders, nurses, all that good stuff. We love Heroes Jiu-Jitsu.
Bro, your classes that you like post, one, you make the best Heroes Jiu-Jitsu videos. I really like sharing them.
Even
And-
better than Pat's.
Yeah, I'm
not saying a lot.
I just show my stupid face. But you, like, and your classes are always packed, bro.
They're packed, man.
Yeah.
I've only been open for 7 months or something, and on our no-gi nights we'll have 30 to 40 people at least, and then that's just like
That's
a regular.
awesome.
That's just me
Yeah.
teaching. It's not like a seminar or anything like that. So
What? Now I'm super curious. Like, what is there a lot of jiu-jitsu up there? Like, are you like one of the few gyms? Like, what do you think
Yeah.
led to your success?
So, no, there's a few gyms in the area, all great guys, man. I got a close friend that owns a gym up there. He was super good to me when I moved out there and let me train with him. And his gym's called Neanderthal. They do a lot of MMA there. So
Okay.
anytime anyone comes to me and they're like, "Hey, striking," I'm like, "Dude, go
Yeah.
see Monty at Neanderthal." Right,
That's
great
cool.
gym. And then Travis Luters is maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes from me. They're more in Fort Worth. It's a very big gym. So I think just the time it was right there. The community is growing. Tons of people. I think Parker County is like the fastest growing
Oh wow.
county in Texas right now.
Bro,
That's
pretty
cool.
soon
So-
Dallas and Austin are gonna touch.
Yeah, for real. And there's honestly, if you go up to DFW, there's a lot of good jiu-jitsu up there.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I mean,
bro.
Machado is huge.
Yeah,
Machado's been
Genesis?
there for years.
Yeah.
Genesis is good.
Genesis is a great gym.
Yeah.
The first Hodger Gracie Academy in the USA is up there just north of Dallas right now.
And then
Really?
what's his they have a Marcelo Garcia
Yep.
gym
Yep.
there. Like Dallas has a lot of good
So
jiu-jitsu.
Six Blades. We have a Six Blades not far from me.
Yep, there's
So-
Soul Fighters, like
Soul
what's his
Fighters.
name's up there.
Yeah.
They have like again, go to Autos Weatherford, but if you're too far away, there's a ton of other gyms.
Oh,
to train.
ton.
Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome.
That's like Austin, same
And-
way.
and-
Houston.
I tell people too, like when they come in my gym, I'm like, yeah, we'd love to have you as a member. Have you tried anywhere else?
Yeah.
Because like go try another gym. Like everyone's
Yeah.
got a free trial membership, right?
Yeah.
Go check out Gracie, go check out Neanderthal, check out these other places. If that's more your fit, then that's cool. Like
Yeah.
we're growing regardless. You know what
I think that's also such like a great thing, even just like on your end of like, look, like it's not the hard sell because like a lot of some maybe not a lot, but like some jiu-jitsu schools like they do like the really hard sell and they try and like trap you into it and you're like no, like we're like that shows just like kind of like the character and you're like look, I want the best for you and like if that's somewhere else like that's awesome. Like jiu-jitsu is one of those things where it's like you're trained jiu-jitsu, like that's all we care about.
100%, man. I think every gym and every head professor should encourage their students to go, number one, go cross train. It's great to cross train and just be confident in your program.
Yeah.
Like the guys that don't encourage cross training, they might not be that confident in their program, right?
Yeah.
So encourage cross training, like be confident in your program. And if the people want to be at your gym, that's the people you want.
Yeah.
That want to be there.
100%.
So
That's awesome.
Agreed. right? And if you send someone out to go to another gym and they go train, like they might, like it's good to get pressure tested,
Oh, for sure.
right? Like you go, if you're with the same people every day, like you're kind of gonna have the same results, right? But if you go out and you do this guard pass against everybody at your gym, and you go to another gym and you do the same guard pass and it doesn't work, now you gotta fine tune that. But like we've been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes, so let's
I do want to say one thing. I'm just gonna say one thing on that topic too. It also works the other way. I've noticed where if you like if you're doing bad like at your school, just because everyone knows your style and knows your game, like you go other places and like actually reset and like do something different and do better. Like one of the guys who comes to your class a lot, he went to that open mat at like Stoic, and he's like, I was like doing really good against like what other like white belts and blue belts. It's like, yeah, because the people here are killers.
100%.
Like we're really good. Like if you just go somewhere else and like train with other people, like who knows what's gonna happen.
I get a lot of my blue belts that like they're like, oh man, coach, I just feel like I'm just getting like crushed a lot. And I'm like, bro, you're talking about going against me. And my other brown belts that are our size, like, and then they go to another gym and they're like, oh dude, I was mopping it up. And I'm like, yeah, you got to understand.
You know what mops up germs?
Tell us.
Beautiful.
Defense wipes.
Defense wipes.
Yep. If you want to crush and or kill fungus, use defense soap and defense wipes. If you use SDR 15, you will get 15% off.
Yeah.
Yes. That's awesome.
I'm going to use that. I didn't know that we had that code.
Really? Oh.
He's never watched a podcast.
No, he's definitely watched podcasts. He knew all the secrets.
Yeah.
Good
All right. That was awesome. Thank you so much,
Cool.
Flood.
Thanks,
This was so much fun.
Yeah. This
great podcast.
episode's never going to see the light of day.
He'll be sure of it.
we actually just wanted to talk to you, and we're like, let's make it seem like it's legit.
Yeah.
None of
We're
we
not
have
even
been
recording.
recording.
We're not even
None of these
recording.
are actually. They're just on.
We just want to hang out with you. We
Yeah.
want to make you drive down and hang out with
We
us.
could have done it out there.
This is more cool though.
We have said we have to do one on the mats because that would be cool. But we're Gracie White is so busy now.
So
Like there's
real
no
talk
mat
though.
time. Free.
UFC 300.
Okay.
That's good. We have to figure that out because that's got to happen.
We'll see.
We have to figure it out, or UFC needs to figure it out.
No,
tell
we
us
do.
who's fighting.
We do.
No,
Okay.
Pat needs to figure out how to make it happen so we could
Bro, I don't even know how to use my phone.
he has an iPad because it looks just like his phone.
like a TV.
He's like all the buttons are the same as my phone, so I could kind of use it.
We got you, Pat.
Yeah.
We'll cast.
It works sometimes for him.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Anyways,
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
This
Thanks.
was fun.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.